Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about the South Indian art of Kolam. It is a simple art form, but it is also meditative, and it starts with dots, and the lines go around the dots. And I'm going to teach you some few basic things about it. Let's divide the sheet into many quadrants. The most simple one is a dot and then drawing a circle around it. Let's try with two dots next. And instead of drawing two separate circles, we draw a horizontal 8, or if you have vertical dots, you draw an 8. Next comes three dots, and you just draw in and around. Let me break that down for you again. So there are three lines like that I have shown in red, and then you just join the ends of those lines. But it looks different when you do it as a continuous motion. It goes as a continuous thing, looping around. There is another version with the three dots where you only loop around two dots and the other dot comes with a U and ends. Let's try that again. I'm going to use red for the U so that you can see it, and then you draw a straight line and have those lines meet again. Let's give it one more go. All together. Now let's move to the fun ones, which is four dots. You just diagonally go around, and that's one simple one. Let's try that again. You move diagonally from both sides. Now let's try a different version with the four dots, all in a single loop. Let me show you again. Imagine four lines, two vertical and two horizontal, and then you are just connecting those lines. It just looks different when you're doing it as a single action, like how I'm doing now, all at once. It will feel like it's really complex, but it's not. Now, this is another four dot version with figure 8 as the inspiration. So you draw across like that. I'm going to break it down in the next one. So you will see the bottom of the 8 two ways, and then they'd meet opposite ends of the 8. I hope that makes sense. Let's try 6 dots, 3 per row. You go up and around the top and the bottom. I'm going to explain it again in the next one. So 3 dots per row. Start from the bottom and move to the middle top and go around it and come down, and then Start at the top, move to the bottom, and go around and come down. Now, this is the base for the next 6 dot. So now I'm going to show you the 6 dot version using this as the base. Now we go down, make that 8 and go back up. So let's try that again in a simpler way. Let's just draw the 4 dot version and see how I extend it. So that is our 4 dot version. Now that's the simplest extension. The 8 where that line crosses over is the key. Let's try that again as a single stroke, one from top and one from bottom. So that's the stroke that started from the top. And now for the stroke that starts from the bottom and goes on the other side. So now we are going to use the same 4 dot version as a base, but this time for 8 dots, 4 dots in each row. And I will break it down for you. Now we start from the top, go down the other way. Let me show that again with 4 dots in each row. And now let's do the basic on both sides. And now for the other sides. How we connect these to look seamless and as a one continuous line is what matters. So when you go up and down, it has to look seamless, and you will get that with practice. So let's try that again. Going there and down that way, and now you can see that you're going to go down and up and make it a seamless loop, and in the end it looks like a complete unbroken line. Let's do it one more time. Let's use the same basic design and do a column which has 10 dots, 5 in each row. I'm going to show you how it goes, and it's a one continuous loop column, which means you don't lift your hands in the middle, but I will break it down for you. Now let's break that down. Let's have the dots, 5 in each row for 2 rows, and let's draw the basic column on each side. And now let's see how we are going to join these together. From the bottom you meet the top of the opposite side, and from the top of this one, first one, you meet the bottom of the opposite side. But it's not fully complete yet because the two dots are on their own and still not part. Now we take the bottom line and go above, and here we take the top line and go below. But when you draw it, it's a one continuous loop. It's quite a brain teaser. Let's try it. Okay, ready? Going up and down, up and down, and now that's the continuous loop part, which takes you down, up and down, and above and down. So that's the continuous loop. I'm going to show it again and see if we can break it down as well. Up, down, up, up, down, up, a U, down, up, down, U, up, and that's the end. Let's try one more 10 dot version, and our basic is still this diagonal with 4 dots. So here are the 10 dots. And now we go up and down. We add a 8 right now, half 8. And the other side is a down. And an 8 down. Now let's try that again. I'm going to break it down for you all. These are our 10 dots. There we go. That's the basic shape. One more time. Oops. I'm going to try that again. There. Now let's do the other side. There you go. And let's try that again. Let's have our 10 dots, 5 in each row, and see if we can do this. Up, down, 8, up, down. Now down, up, 8, down, up. How about we do it one more time? That's the 8, and then the loops. It doesn't matter where you start as long as you maintain and know where the dots have to go. Okay, let's try a different 4 dot column and use that as our basic now. It is this one with looping around all the four dots. But our main column is going to be 10 dots, 5 in each row. And I'm going to break it down after this. So let's just go ahead and see how it goes. The key is to go around the dots, and how we do it is what makes it fun. Now let's have our dots again. Here are our 10 dots, and I'm going to break it down. You see, that's 2/3 of the 4 dot on both sides. And now we join them, and this is the first shape. Let's do that again. It's a continuous loop. And now let's see what to do with the other dots. Ooh, that looks like a bow tie. Let's try that again. 5 dots in each row and 2 rows. That's the first part of the column. And that's the second part. Let's move on to a 3 by 3 matrix dots, which means 3 dots in each row and 3 dots in each column. And math and logic. So it actually trains your brain in making decisions and improving your memory at the same time. So let's see how this goes. Imagine these 4 lines, 2 horizontal and 2 vertical, like a tic-tac-toe. And you join them like that. And you have the first part of the column. Now let's add the second part. After the first, now the lines are going to be diagonal, and then you join them around the dot. So let's try to do the whole thing again. As a single action. 1. And now for the second part. Loop around, line, loop around, line. How about we try it one more time just to see if we can train our brain better on this. How about another 3 by 3, 3 rows and 3 columns? But it's a different one this time. It's all about the U loops and a square with a circle in the center. Let's try that one more time, and I will break that down for you this time. Draw a V shape around all the center dots, and then you just have to join them. And this is the part 1. And let's try to combine that with the second part in the next one. Now let's try to do this as a continuous loop and see if it will happen for us. Alright, now the second part of this is a square. It's just that it's going to be a diagonal square. It's kind of like a game where you play avoiding the dots. Let's do one more time. This is the step 1. And the square, which is step 2. And then the final, a circle around the center dot. Let's move on to something complex, but the basic for that complex column is this one. I hope you all still remember this one. Let's have 4 by 4, total 16 dots, 4 in each row and 4 in each column. And I'm going to show you how this works and then we will break it down. This is all a single loop, but I will break it down for you and simplify it. Okay, now it's time for us to break it down. These are our 16 dots, 4 in each row. Okay, now let's find our basic in this. You see, actually it is the 4 by 4 done 4 times. And how we connect them is what makes it a single piece. This is the breakdown, and now I'm going to show you how they connect. And then you find that the center has another 4 by 4. Okay, let's try that again. Let's have our 16 dots, 4 in each row and 4 in each column. And now let's start with our breakdown. You see, I stop at the third dot loop and I don't do the fourth loop. I just keep it like that and we will connect it at the end. Let's finish our small ones only with the 3 loops. And now for the fourth one, we are going to connect the bottoms and the sides and the tops and the sides, and that brings us to a complete column. It looks very complex when you do it as a single stroke. Now I am going to show you one more time, and this time with a single stroke. Let's have our dots ready. 4 in each row, 4 in each column. And I think we are ready to begin. Now, if it is really hard for us to do all in a single stroke like I am doing, we can always go back to the breaking down version. And that is our 4 by 4. Okay, now again Our basic is going to be this guy. And let's try the dots slightly differently. Two dots followed by four dots followed by four dots and then by two dots. Okay, let me show you the complete version and then we can break it down. There you go. This is the complete version. Now let's break it down. Let's have our dots again. 2, 4, 4, and 2. Okay, now that's one part of it. And we do the same thing in the bottom and on the right and on the left. And then you just join the lines. And that's our first part of this column. And can anyone guess the second part? It is very simple. Let's do this with the second part included. These are our dots 2, 4, 4, and 2. I'm starting from the left this time and trying to go on a continuous loop. And that's the first part. Now the second part is just the square and it's done. How about we do this one more time? Let's place two dots and then 4, 4, and 2. Okay, this is the first step, going all around. And notice that every time you're looping around the corner dots. That is a tip that might be helpful. And then the square. And this is one more. It is a very mathematical game with just the dots and lines. Okay, let's try a 5 by 5, which means 5 dots in a row and 5 dots in a column. It will seem complex, but once I break it down for you, I think you will all get it. And you just have to play around. You can play with any number of dots. Okay. This is the first part, and then this is the second part that gets repeated many times. And this is the last part, which is drawing circles around the dots. It's totally optional. If you don't want to, you don't have to. All right. How about we try that again? 5 dots in each row and total of 25 dots. And we will start by drawing the U on the corner dots. Okay. Here we go. Draw U on each corner dot. Not very hard, right? And now you have to connect the U's. Just you have to go above one dot, which is the center dot, on all sides. So now that concludes our first step. Now let's start on the second part. But before that, I'm going to again draw the first step as a continuous loop for you to see. Okay, let's begin. You go above the center one, you go above the center one, you go above the center one and connect. And now the second part is just squares. So I'm going to keep these black except for the last one because you are repeating the same thing on all four sides. All right. And now the last and final step is to draw those circles. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, this is the final one. How about we try it one more time just to nail it? 5 rows and 5 columns, 25 dots in total. You, above, you, above, you, above, you, above, and connect. And now for the squares. So imagine that each dot that you're drawing the square on is like the corner. So the corner of the square has to be above each dot. I hope that makes sense. And we are done. Thank you.